Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stavros Halvatsis. In this video, I'm going to give you the nitty-gritty on foreshadowing to help you write technically accomplished stories. Let's jump right in. Foreshadowing is the skill of providing clues, either subtly or more overtly, that prepare readers and audiences to accept or make sense of the actions, objects, events, and revelations that occur in a story.
Maybe things that happen leave other kind of traces behind. Not things that anyone can notice, but things that people who shine can see.
There are two main types of foreshadowing. Direct, where clues are openly laid out for all to see, and indirect or subtle, where clues are buried deeper into the narrative. On a side note, an additional effect of foreshadowing in terms of story cohesiveness is to increase the sense of unity by bringing together seemingly innocuous actions, events, or objects across narrative time. Here's what I mean. Let's say in the case of subtle foreshadowing that the audience has noticed something earlier on in the tale but not paid much attention to it, only to have it snap into place later as something which helps to make sense of a current narrative event. The two narrative components, the thing noticed and the later realization of its significance, acts as a bridge across story time, creating a sense of fullness and unity and adding to the appreciation of the writer's craft. In Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's novel The Shining, we are presented with a masterclass in the use of foreshadowing. Let's firstly examine some of the examples of direct foreshadowing from the film. Direct foreshadowing places the audience in a heightened state of anticipation. It generates story questions in the minds of the audience. This can be as direct and simple as a line of dialogue, someone saying, "A war is coming." In The Shining, the tsunami of blood from the elevator serves as a visceral example of direct visual foreshadowing. It forces us to ask, what bloody incident does this vision represent? Why is Danny being shown this now? The obvious hint is that more blood will be shed. It leaves little room for misinterpretation, for telling of the horror and violence that will soon consume the Torrance family. Here's another example. The hotel manager tells Jack that a previous caretaker, Charles Grady, killed his wife, two young daughters, and himself at the hotel a decade prior, but it is his duty to tell Jack about the event.
He must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and he killed his family with an axe.
The not-so-subtle hint to the audience is that Jack will do the same to his own family. But it is subtle foreshadowing that truly helps to distinguish The Shining as a work of art. While it acts together with direct foreshadowing, subtle foreshadowing does this under the surface, building up a sense of unease that we can't quite put our finger on. It trades the predictability of direct foreshadowing for a creeping anxiety that is only released in moments of revelation when the audience puts things together. Even before the Torrance family arrives at the Overlook Hotel, we see Danny talking to his imaginary friend, Tony, Danny's alter ego.
What about Tony? He's looking forward to the hotel, I bet.
I ain't Mr. Torrance.
Well, how come you don't want to go?
I just don't.
At first, we take this to be a game of Danny's with an imaginary friend. But there is something unsettling about the scene which puts us on edge. We will later learn that Tony is in fact a manifestation of Danny's psychic powers rooted in his ability to shine.
Who's Tony?
Tony's a little boy that loves my mouth.
Is Tony the one that tells you things?
Yes.
Another important example of subtle foreshadowing occurs when we catch a brief glimpse of the hedge maze. This seemingly innocuous detail plants the seed of the maze's significance as a psychological labyrinth that will ensnare Jack Torrance and his family.
Yeah, this whole place is such an enormous maze. I feel like I'll have to leave a trail of breadcrumbs every time I come in.
But whereas Jack will become lost in the maze, Danny will escape it. This is foreshadowed through the ease with which Danny navigates the labyrinth-like spaces of the hotel on his tricycle. The motif is reiterated through the maze-like patterns on the carpets. Wendy takes Danny on a walkthrough of the hedge maze, while inside the hotel, Jack stoops over the model of the labyrinth, watching menacingly. Ironically, the walkthrough will help Danny find his way out of the maze, while his axe-wielding father won't. Danny's encounter with the twins early on is yet another example of subtle foreshadowing, since at first we take the girls to be actual children. It is only later when Danny encounters the girls covered in blood that we come to understand that they are the murdered children of the previous caretaker, Mr. Grady. Jack himself is the vehicle for plenty of foreshadowing. His slow descent into madness is hinted at by his repetitive typing of "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." This mindless activity provides a snapshot of his unraveling psyche. A conversation between Jack and Lloyd, the bartender, seems innocuous at first.
You slip me a bottle of bourbon, a little glass, and some ice. You can do that, can't you, Lloyd?
However, it subtly hints at Jack's lapse back into alcoholism, which had once caused him to break Danny's arm while drunk.
I did hurt him once, okay? It was an accident. Completely unintentional. Could have happened to anybody.
This vulnerability will be exploited by the malevolent forces in the hotel. The use of mirrors in cinema often points to fractured psyches and altered realities. Mirrors hint at the existence of worlds within worlds, worlds where horrors lurk beneath the ordinary. But what they reveal may also serve as a warning to those who are able to interpret the images correctly because of their ability to shine.
Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Stop it! Red rum! Red rum! Red rum!
To sum it all up then, foreshadowing can be blunt or subtle. Both add to a story's unity. Direct foreshadowing creates immediate anticipation, while indirect or subtle foreshadowing creates a sense of expectation and mounting anxiety that is released later on in the story when the significance of earlier actions, objects, or events suddenly snap into place.
Here's Johnny!
Well, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, hitting the like and notification buttons, and leaving a comment to share your thoughts and to help the channel grow. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.